of the fallen. Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Thank you. So this is a song of lamentation, but mostly experiencing separation from the Lord and his devotees, and it's a song of remembering how important devotees are. And today is a very important day because there are many auspicious events happening today. And also, today is the day when Srila Gaur Kishoredas Babaji Maharaj reunited in his service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we sing this song in his honor, remembering. And while you sing this song, you can meditate upon the attachment that can develop in the heart for the devotees. Jayanilo Premadhana Karuna Prachur Jayanilo Premadhana Karuna Prachur Jayanilo Premadhana Karuna Prachur Jayanilo Hano Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Kaha mora swarup rupa Kaha sanata mora Kaha sanata Kaha das Raghunath Patita Pavan Kaha mora bhatta juga Kaha kabira mora Eka kale kotha gela gora natara Pashane kutibo matha Anale pashibo Gauranga gune Sheshab Shangiro Shange Koilo Bilas Sheshangana Paya Kade Narottamada Je Anila Prema Dana Karuna Prachur Hana Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Paribrajkacharya. Thank you. Ashtotar Satar Shishimad Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashad Desatharisha Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Canto 5, Chapter 17, Text 20 today. Anna, may I request you to please put Tulasi Maharani here? Thank you. So please repeat after me. The verse is there on the board. Asad Drisho Yaha Pratibhati Mayaya Shibeva Madhva Asava Tamra Lochanaha Na Naga Vadvo Rihana Ishire Riya Yat Padayo Sparshana Darshiten Darshit Indriyaha. Okay. Asadrishoya pratibhati mayaya Shibeva madhva savatamra lochanaha Nanagavadvorina rishari Nanagavadvorina ishire riya Yat padayo sparshana darshitindriyaha Asadrishoya pratibhati mayaya Shibeva matva shavatamra lochanaha Nanagavadvo Rihana Ishe. I'll do this again, sorry. Nanagavadvo Rihana Ishirehya Yat Padayo Sparshana Darshitendriyaha. Please recite.
Nanakavadvorhana Ishirehya Yadpadayo Sparshana Darshitendriya Asadrishoya Pratibhati Mayaya Shibeva Madhva Savatamra Asadrishoya pratipati mayaya. Shideva madvasa tamralochana. Nanagabhutva narishirediya. Yat padayosvashanadashitendriya.
Thank you. Asadrishaha. For a person with polluted vision. Yaha. Who. Pratibhati. Appears. Mayaya. The influence of Maya. Shivaha. One who is inebriated or angry. Eva. Like. Madhu. By honey. Asava. And liquor. Tamralochanaha. Having eyes reddish like copper. Na. Not. Nagavadvaha. The wives of the serpent demon. Arhane. In worshipping. Ishire. Were unable to proceed. Riya. Because of bashfulness. Yat padayo. Of whose feet? Of whose lotus feet? Sparshana. By the touching. Darshita. Agitated. Indriyaha. Whose senses? Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The translation reads as follows. For persons with impure vision, the Supreme Lord's eyes appear like those of someone who indiscriminately drinks intoxicating beverages. Thus bewildered, such unintelligent persons become angry at the Supreme Lord, and due to their angry mood, the Lord Himself appears angry and very fearful. However, this is an illusion. When the wives of the serpent demon were agitated by the touch of the Lord's lotus feet, due to shyness, they could proceed no further in their worship of Him. Yet the Lord remained unagitated by their touch, for He is equipoised in all circumstances. Therefore, who will not worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Purport. Anyone who remains unagitated, even in the presence of cause for agitation, is called dhira, or equipoised. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being always in a transcendental position, is never agitated by anything. Therefore, someone who wants to become dhira must take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text 13, Krishna says, Dhiras tatra namuhyati. A person who is equipoised in all circumstances is never bewildered. Prahlad Maharaj is a perfect example of a dhira. When the fierce form of Nrsingadev appeared in order to kill Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad was unagitated. He remained calm and quiet, whereas others, including even Lord Brahma, were frightened by the features of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So let us recite the Mangalacharan together. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayang Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Satarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Nilachala Nivashaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarvasya Padam Bhoja Shri Radha Madan Mohana Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumado Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanasta Sriman Radha Srila Govinda Deva Prishthalevi Sevyamanam Smarami Shriman Rasa Sarambhi Vamsi Vatashata Karshan Venu Suner Gopi Gopinatha Shriyastuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum lamgayate girim yat kripa paramam vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishvaram. Hare Krishna. So before we begin our discussion of this verse, I would request the blessings and mercy of all the assembled Vaishnavas, the senior devotees assembled here, so that I may be able to perform this devotional service primarily for my own purification. So I just read the verse and translation once again. Asadrishoya pratibhati mayaya shabeva madva savatamra lojanaha nanagavadvor narishe hriya yatpadayo sparshana darshitendriya. For persons with impure vision, the Supreme Lord's eyes appear like those of someone who indiscriminately drinks intoxicating beverages. Thus bewildered, such unintelligent persons become angry at the Supreme Lord, and due to their angry mood, the Lord himself appears angry and very fearful. However, this is an illusion. When the wives of the serpent demon were agitated by the touch of the Lord's lotus feet, due to shyness, they could proceed no further in their worship of him. Yet the Lord remained unagitated by their touch, for he is equipoised in all circumstances. Therefore, who will not worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So it's a very beautiful verse. We have this chapter 17 entitled The Descent of the River Ganges, and especially in chapter 17, we are discussing this part of creation where Lord Vamanadev pierced the upper hemisphere with the touch of his toe, and then through this hole, the nectarian Ganges, which washes the lotus feet of the Lord, appeared, and she is said to be held in the jata, or the, how do we call it? The matted hair, the deadlocks, they call it, of Lord Shiva, That's why he's called Jatadhari. And he, because his hair is so complex, he holds Mother Ganga there. And of course, from there, she outpours again. And we also discussed the various pastimes or names of Ganga Devi. She's known as Jahnavi because she is the daughter of Janu. Or no, she appeared from the thighs of Janu, so she's known as Jahnavi, and so on. She's known as Bhagirati because she is the daughter of Bhagirath, if I'm correct. Yes, that's the description. We hear of Mother Ganga, and when meditating on this aspect of the very important aspects and features and details about Mother Ganges, which is given here, I was reflecting on this point that people call the Vedic scriptures mythology, the people in the outside world, and they call it mythology, means it's just a myth, But if you read the details that are given in the Shastra, you realize there's so much history, so much details. And like Srila Prabhupada would think that these rascals, they say that the scriptures are mythology. You think someone as elevated as Vyasadeva would write down all these details just for fun? So this is when we read, that's why it's so important to read the Shastras, because you realize the details that are given there, it's only history. And it is no one other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead who could summarize this together. And of course, it is said that Srila Vyasadeva narrated and Lord Ganesha wrote. Also in the Himalayas, there is this one place where you can go and even visit the place where Srimad Bhagavatam was actually written, and so on. So this proves that we are living within this world in a very different world. It's indeed our great fortune that we have become abreast with this knowledge and these details, which maybe out there in the world, we are all going out and distributing books, but it is like Krishna says in chapter 7, text 3, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yaditi siddhaya tatamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvataha. Out of thousands and thousands of people, there may be some who may be interested in God consciousness. And out of those, some, only one may attain perfection. So that is how rare it is, this life of devotional service. And that is how rare it is to be able to sit here in this lecture of Srimad Bhagavatam and acquaint ourselves with transcendental knowledge like this. And I also wanted to thank the devotees in the morning, actually, when we entered into the temple room, such beautiful kirtan and such energetic kirtan. And we are a Sankirtan movement, and it is very enlivening to see that the temple is back again and the energetic kirtan is back again. And I would express my gratitude and encouragement to the devotees to please continue, because this transcendental sound vibration that we create here is actually resonating and reverberating throughout the city. So it's very important that we do ecstatic kirtan in the temple. So thank you very much for your participation in the morning program and the ecstatic kirtan. And I hope we can maintain this ecstatic spirit. And when the temple, being the seed of the spread of the Krishna consciousness movement, can hold such energy, then we can hope that this will spread throughout the city of Zurich powerfully. So coming back to our topic for today, Lord Shiva is now describing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are, of course, talking about the creation and the Lord glancing over the material energy. And interestingly, Lord Shiva, Sukadeva Goswami, he expresses that in this Ilavrita Varsha, I mean, of course, to know what is Ilavrita Varsha, you have to go back to the discussion we've been having so far. The only male person is Lord Shiva. And his wife, Lord Durga, if she sees that somebody is trying to enter into this sphere and is trying to claim manhood, she turns this foolish person into a woman. So it's very interesting how, what does that mean? What does this mean when the Shastra is saying? It means that nobody can enter into a transcendental knowledge with a pride, because it is said um, the male energy, manhood is associated with pride, with protection, with being something. But you have to undo all of that. You have to give up false pride. You have to really come in the mood of a servant and not a lord to enter transcendental kingdom, to acquaint yourself with transcendental knowledge. And therefore, it so happens that when there is anybody who foolishly tries to enter the land of Ilavrita Varsha in this male mentality, Goddess Durga turns that person into a woman. Why? Because it is only with servitorship that we can enter into transcendental knowledge and in a life of devotional service. And of course, now we are discussing the form of the Lord, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshana. And although it may seem this part of Canto 5 to be very technical and very otherworldly and not required for me, I will urge that you read it, because especially when you go out for preaching, it will be so important for yourself, but also for others, to understand this, how this cosmic manifestation works. And Srimad Bhagavatam gives knowledge to us which is much more complex than geography. And now we know that Lord Shiva is glorifying Sankarshana as the original cause of even his own existence. So Lord Shiva is deriving his existence from Lord Sankarshana, and who is lying in the causal ocean as Ananta Shesha. And now we are coming to this point of text 20, where we have some description of the Naga Patnis. And Lord Shiva is saying how for people who are impure in their vision, they think the Lord, they perceive the Lord according to their vision. And because they are fearful, the Lord appears angry to them. And yet we have to understand that the Lord remains unagitated, and the Lord is equipoised in all circumstances and therefore worthy of worship. So in technical terms, here we have this mention of Naga Vadva, the wives of the serpent demon. And I was just thinking which Naga Vadva or which wives or Naga Patnis it's referring to. Of course, there is many interpretation. There are Naga Patnis from the Kaliya demon, but I don't think that's the reference being made here. I would believe that this is the reference to the wives of Ananta Shesha, or the wives of Vasuki or the Nagas. Mahakrishna Prabhu, you have any idea which Naga Patnis they are referring to? It's very interesting. You can research on it because it's not so clear. Here this... Yes, exactly. That's why I was thinking it cannot be them here. Because here they are becoming shy and they are retracting from their worship. So because they are pure devotees, the Naga Patnis in Krishna Leela cannot be them. So perhaps these are, you see, even this, it's so deep, Srimad Bhagavatam, that every place can give you some opportunity to research. So you can research about this if you like, if you have the knack for research. Canto 5, Chapter 7, Text 20 talks about Naga Patnis, or wives of the serpent demon. Which wives of serpent, which serpent demon are they? Because it cannot be the serpent demon Naga Patnis from Krishna Leela, because they're pure devotees. And my speculation is that this is perhaps referring to the serpent demons or the general serpents and their wives. It's not referring to them. That's what we just discussed. So, yes, but it is of course referring to the fact that the Lord Sankarshana or Ananta Shesha, he is the Lord of the serpents, and perhaps it's referring to the wives of the serpent clan, maybe. And the wives of the serpent demon, who being touched by the lotus feet of the Lord, they become shy, and therefore they cannot proceed. They feel so much hesitation out of their shyness that they cannot proceed in their worship of the Lord. But the Lord is unperturbed. He remains. Even if he touches them by the feet or they become awkward, the Lord remains equipoised, or he's undisturbed by this. And from this, Srila Prabhupada actually takes this point that a person who is unagitated is known as dhira or equipoised. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never agitated, and therefore his devotee is also never agitated. And Srila Prabhupada, of course, here quotes this verse from chapter 2, text 13 of the Bhagavad Gita. We all maybe remember it. We can chant together. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yapanam jara tata dehantaras prapti dhiras tatra namuhyati. So a sober person is not bewildered by change, and such a person is known as a dhira. And Srila Prabhupada says, therefore, someone who wants to become dhira must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it is interesting how he takes it from the fact that the Lord is dhira. Therefore, to prove that when we perform, it's actually, you can read, go into the deeper meaning with your intelligence in Srimad Bhagavatam and the purport of Srila Prabhupada, that when we begin to practice devotional service, we imbibe the quality of our Lord. Of course, we imbibe the quality and not quantity. And this is very nicely explained in Sri Isha Upanishad, that Isha Upanishad, it has 18 mantras. And recently, I had the very good fortune of teaching Sri Isha Upanishad for Bhakti Shastri for some devotees. And it was the whole of Kartik being absorbed in Sri Isha Upanishad. And Sri Isha Upanishad talks about the fact that there is Sambhuti and Asambhuti. Sambhuti is the complete, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Asambhuti is the incomplete or the dependent, and whereas the Lord is independent. And there also it is mentioned that we are parts and participles and minuscule particles of the complete whole. And we also know in Sri Upanishad there is this very important principle, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So Sri Upanishad claims Om Purnamada, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Purnamada. He is the supreme whole, he is the complete whole. And because we are part and parcel of the complete whole, we are also complete. We are also energetically, in terms of our qualities, we are the same as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the difference is in quantity. And if you think, we talk about the power of humanity, the power of the humankind. We have this power only because we come from the powerful. We are having all these potencies because we come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, we also have the capability of becoming dhira or becoming equipoised because our God, Father, our Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, has this equipoised nature. So I was thinking this part, we talk about the Isha Principle, now that we speak of Sri Isha Upanishad. Sri Isha Upanishad is a very thin book, and if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend that you read it. And Sri Isha Upanishad takes us from the part where, my apologies. Sri Isha Upanishad takes this part where it starts from the fact, Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai, Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. So Sri Isha Upanishad takes from this aspect. It starts with the Isha Principle, where the Lord is whole, and it's, as His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Maharaj puts it, it's the peace formula. The Lord is whole, we are part and parcel of this whole, and therefore we are also whole. And each of us have our quota that we can take from being part and parcel of the Lord. And therefore we should live in harmony with Isha. And if you meditate on the chapter that we are discussing now, it's actually such a humbling part because we recognize the positionality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you are able to read this alongside Sri Ishopanishad, you will just beautifully see. Sri Ishopanishad starts with how the Supreme Personality, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and how he is whole. And Srila Prabhupada talks about also how this material civilization is so flawed because it does not fully recognize who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. And he goes into the fact of worship of the Lord and the demigod. And here also Lord Shiva is mentioned. And importantly, it is mentioned here the Lord Shiva worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, and therefore he derives his title Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He is the greatest Vaishnava. So we see in this verse especially the purity of the Ganges is mentioned. We can learn so much about the Lord's expansions into Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha and Sankarshan. And also what is the position of demigods like Lord Shiva, that they remain servitors to Lord Vishnu or Shri Krishna. And what is very important, we can read even further into it and we can realize that we have also the potential to become Dhira because our Lord is Dhira. And also that if you want to enter spiritual knowledge with pride, with a sense of knowing, Goddess Durga or Maya Devi or the material world will turn you into a woman or will beat you up and make you soft-hearted, become a servitor, make you into a woman. Okay, that may be a very drastic example. But she will, she turns foolish people into women who want to compete with Lord Shiva and enter into the world. So that's what we get beaten up by Maya, because we are trying to lord it over the material world. But we cannot, because we are here to recognize our position as servitors. And therefore Sri Ishopanishad is very beautiful because towards the end, it ends with a prayer begging the Lord for mercy. So we are in a very beautiful juncture. It may seem boring to some of us, but we are in a very beautiful juncture of Srimad Bhagavatam, where we are learning about the technical aspects of the cosmic creation. And please use this opportunity to develop humility, to realize how we are only a very fine, tiny part of the 1/4 manifestation of Krishna's creation. That's how insignificant and unimportant we are. So from Jnana comes Vairagya, from knowledge comes renunciation. So from when we truly embrace the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, then we will have renunciation of our pride. And therefore we can become humble. So let us use this opportunity to really become humble, and therefore this divine knowledge will become revealed to us. So that was something in relation to our verse for today. However, today also happens to be a very important day. It is Shri Utpanna Ekadashi. Ekadashi is anyway a very significant time for Vaishnavas, but today is Deva Utpanna Ekadashi. Today also marks the first day of Bhishma Panchaka, and today also marks the disappearance day of Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So a very, very significant day. So let us begin with a little meditation about what this Ekadashi is. This Ekadashi is known as Deva Utpanna Ekadashi. So it is the day that marks the beginning of Ekadashis. Of course, our material calendar works differently. We are ending the year. But Deva Utpanna Ekadashi is the Ekadashi where we awaken the Lord. Deva means the Lord and Utpanna means to awaken. So Deva Utpanna means awakening the Lord. So this is a special Ekadashi where personally you can awaken the Lord in the heart. And of course it is said that you should light a lamp, which we will get an opportunity to do in this evening. You should light a lamp in front of the Lord and you should chant Uttishta Tishta Govinda Uttishta Parameshvara Uttishta Kamala Kanta Trailokya Mangalam Kuru, that you come before the Lord and you beg Him to awaken. So you can meditate on, you can beg the Lord to awaken in your heart. That could be a nice prayer. So it's a very auspicious Ekadashi, so please take it seriously and do make it a point to light a lamp this evening. And of course, we know Ekadashi Upavas. Why do we fast? Upa means near, and vas means to reside. Upavas means that day when you can reside near. So this is the day to reside near to Krishna. So that can be our meditation. Now, first day of Bhishma Panchaka. So what is Bhishma Panchaka? Anybody knows what is Bhishma? Or does anyone not know what is Bhishma Panchaka? You can raise your hand. Yes, Bhishma Panchaka is the first day. Panchaka marks a 5-day calendar. And why is it called Panchaka? Because it's a 5-day fast. So Bhishma Panchaka is a very special day. It's a 5-day fast where many devotees, it's not so it's not so mandatory for Gauriya Vaishnavas, but many Vaishnavas around the globe, they do this fast for 5 days, where there are different ways of doing this fast. It's a 5-day fast called Bhishma Panchaka. And I will first explain how we do the fast and then why we do it. So this 5-day fast is, first category of doing this fast is you fast from everything. Water, food items. And every day you offer a specific item to the Lord, and also you consume only 1 drop of, for example, cow dung. You consume 1 drop of cow urine. So like this, 1 drop of milk. So like this, there is a very strict procedure. And every day you offer, for example, one day you offer lotus, one day you offer something else. So over these 5 days, on 5 different days, you offer 5 different items to the Lord. And then on the 5th day, you break your fast, of course, by worshipping the Lord, by taking darshan of the full moon of Rasa Purnima. And then you break your fast with consuming the 4 items that you did not have during Chaturmasya: spinach, milk, yogurt, and urad dal. So this is the most strict way of doing Bhishma Panchaka. But another way is doing just Ekadashi for 5 days. And even another day is doing just 5 days of eating only fruits. So if you are in mood of some austerities. But the most important is to chant more and more. And why do we cut down on bodily needs? In any fast or any austerities we do, we cut down on bodily needs because we actually utilize this time to serve Krishna, to chant more, to serve the deities more. So whatever austerities we do in Krishna consciousness, it's only to save time to actually chant more. That's the whole point of austerities in Krishna consciousness. And why do we do Bhishma Panchaka? So we know that our very beloved Bhima from the Pandavas, for him to fast was very difficult. So Bhima is known as the devourer of everything. So he eats a lot and he's huge. So for Bhima it was very, isn't it? It was, and Bhima actually took the vow to fast these 5 days. And therefore it became also tradition to fast for these 5 days. I'm forgetting why it's called Bhishma Panchaka, but does anyone remember?
Bhima is Pandya Nirjala Ekadashi. June May. Bhishma is like the Pinda ceremony of we make.
Oh yes, that's right. So yes, it's called Bhishma. Yes, but it's called Bhishma Panchaka because we offer Tarpana to Bhishma Dev as our ancestor. That's why it's called Bhishma Panchaka. So this is the whole, this is the reason why we do Bhishma Panchaka. And also actually today marks the...
Bhishma Panchaka is equal like Chaturmasya.
Yes.
Who not did Chaturmasya these 5 days?
Yes.
Chaturmasya.
Yes, if you have missed the Chaturmasya, or if you were inclined to do it and you missed it, if you do Bhishma Panchaka sincerely and strictly, then it's said it's equivalent to actually doing the whole Chaturmasya. So there are a lot of devotees, even in our congregation actually, who eat only 1 time during the whole of Chaturmasya and follow it very strictly and things. So anyway, the whole point is just chant Hare Krishna and chant it, use the time, especially these 5 last days of Kartik. Please do the austerity of chanting more. That's what we can do. Okay, so let's discuss a little bit about our Vaishnavas. So we, in last few minutes that we have, around 4 minutes, we will discuss about Shri Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. Shri Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj was the spiritual master of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, who is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. So he is our grand spiritual master, great grand spiritual master, Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. And today, interestingly, we were discussing how we can use Srimad Bhagavatam in the right way to become humble, and Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj is the epitome of humility. Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, it is said that he was living as a mendicant and he was living his life by doing madhukari, and he was fully absorbed. He was living as a Babaji, just owning one piece of cloth and fully absorbed in the transcendental pastimes and chanting the holy name of the Lord. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, who was so erudite scholar, he took, and Kishodas Babaji Maharaj first was a bit hesitant to give initiation to this erudite scholar, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, but then eventually he gave initiation to him. And it is said that in 1908, the Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, he lost his external eyesight and he stopped traveling and he stayed in one place and just chanted the holy name. And he was really aloof from external consciousness. Sometimes he would not dress and he would just sit in his bhajan kutir and fully just absorbed in calling out the names of the Lord. And then, of course, he gave Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur instructions to never go to Calcutta and so on. That's, of course, we know about that. But Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur beautifully obeyed the instruction but still went to Calcutta and preached and established the Gauriya Math, which would be the very starting point of ISKCON, also in a way, controversial statement, I know. But Srila Prabhupada actually took shelter of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and went to the Gauriya Math. So they are our spiritual brethren and sister concern. So it's very nice once this pastime that once Babaji Maharaj, he was at Yoga Pit at 2 a.m. in the morning, and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur asked Babaji Maharaj that, because Babaji Maharaj he was quite old. He asked that, how did you get here in the pitch darkness? And Babaji Maharaj said, oh, someone got me here. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, who could have got you here at this time? And then he was very confused at 2 in the morning in this darkness. Who would actually go to Babaji Maharaj's kutir and bring him to Yoga Pit, which is the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya? And then he finally concluded in his mind that it must have been Krishna who personally brought Babaji Maharaj across the Ganges to Yoga Pit. Because otherwise, how could Babaji Maharaj take help of a human being to cross over the fields, paddy fields, over the Ganges, then find the way to Yoga Pit and come at 2 in the morning? And then when he was asking Babaji Maharaj so many questions, no, but who got you here? Babaji Maharaj said, one person brought me across the river, that's all. Let's finish it here. So it's these deep experiences which are there. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said it must have been Krishna. So Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj was a very special personality, and he happens to be our great grand spiritual master. And today is the disappearance day, Tirobhav. Today is the day where he reunited in the pastimes. On November 7th, 1959, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj left his material body on this auspicious occasion of Uttana Ekadashi, and he was placed into Samadhi. So we can take this opportunity to also pray to Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, because on this day, on the day of the Abhirbhav, appearance, and Tirubhav, disappearance, a Vaishnava is anyway merciful, but he's said to be even extra merciful. So we can pray to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, a stalwart Acharya, to bless us with his purity and with his humility. We can take shelter. Shri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. So just these were a few things I wanted to touch upon. So today, just to wrap it up, is a very, very auspicious day. So please take advantage of this by absorbing more and more in the practices of devotional service, and also taking advantage of these last 5 days of this auspicious month of Damodar. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. So thank you very much for your attention and attendance. Hare Krishna. I wish you a nice day.
Grace Devasri Radhika Mataji ki.
I remember I talked with Prabhupada. He said, if you talk about Buddha's liberation, he said, every day we can chapter Krishna.
Oké, dan ben ik dus aan de voet.
Ainda Prabhu, and I think that
Maar
it
dit
was
is
a very
like
nice arrangement for us.
one foot.
Because the food was for us.
All these other things you've done.
And Krishna consciousness
But
is only
these
five
other things
days.
do you
And this is exactly
like this.
It's there.
Yes, especially the
Ah, dat is wel goed.
verses about
But this you could also do this.
You
I
will
mean, they can make the good version or just make one.
have a message.
This is for
I have a question.
okay, in order to get the shape.
I was thinking of how actually even to come to this point like it comes naturally to us. It's only through practice. One thing I realized that either we ourselves practice or Krishna will put us in a situation where we have to learn it. So the very fact that we have circumstances which agitate us. One thing I learned in Radhika is about how we see it. So either we can look at it from its perspective, or I can look at it as actually saying that it's not there to tell me I get agitated and I don't want to get agitated.
Oh,
And of course,
congratulations!
like personally also to put it in practice for me is very difficult. But this perspective shift in the mind and the heart helps a lot. Because I tell myself, this is coming to me just because I don't earn it. So Krishna is actually giving this opportunity to me. So instead of seeing it as agitation, I actually see it, oh, it's a chance to actually become dissolved. So it's just we shift the perspective. Like even in this Brikshadetta, there was this thing that there was this rich man in Canto 11. There was this rich man who was first very rich and he treated everybody very badly. And then he became poor and wanted to be better.
I send
And then he was once saying like, why, but I did. And then he realized that spiritual knowledge came and he realized actually it's not mine. He's not this person. He's not the one standing there on the
Because my
street.
Guru Maharaj used
Yeah,
this
it's not mine.
external for me not
And
to
all
do
the
that.
problems went away.
Because
Yeah.
The agitation is the
I
devi.
use it
And
very
it's just, it takes practice.
and I found in
Like, I mean, I
Vrindavan,
have had my personal journey with
this was in
agitation also. That
2010.
when we see things which agitate us, there are two things. Either we
I
just walk
stand
away from it immediately because we don't have self-control, or we develop practice. Because unless we really practice it, it's never going to come.
Every time that
Because
here,
about humility, about being connected with God, we can always
there's
compare we
my
don't have it. But if we don't practice our mindfulness, yeah. And yes, it's like the gym muscle of faith, for example. Gym muscle of view. Because the more you indulge in it, it will come. But the endeavor has to be there. And we know also in the last time, it's endeavor and mercy. As soon as endeavor is there, mercy comes. Like I mean, I don't know if I personally experienced this, that there were so many things I wanted to work on myself. And I just did a little bit endeavor, but the endeavor was very difficult. Even a little bit was so difficult. I had to crush my ego and realize the horrible things that I told you about. Mercy and yeah, unless we don't move one step there, Krishna will take 10 steps. So
I understand.
and we will make mistakes. I think somehow we have to educate ourselves that okay, this is something every aircraft it has a flight path, which means the route from starting to the destination. And then he asks, how many percent of the time does the flight remain on the flight path? What do you think? How many percent? Like there's 100%. How much of the time do you think it stays on the flight path?
It's like it should be like
100%, right?
100%.
The flight remains on the flight path only 30%.
Already. So it's constantly deviating from.
It's 70% is always about coming back. And for me, that gave me so much hope in spiritual life that we don't have to strive so hard for perfection. We just have to endeavor.
So just this endeavor brings pleasure to
Yes,
Krishna.
and this endeavor will bring perfection. It's actually anyway not in our hands, in the hands of our Guru. Then if he's merciful, he will put in a good word, and Prabhupada will put in a good word. But the fact that Krishna has it, and if I'm surrendered to Krishna, I have it, but it's just not fully explored. That just gives me the faith that I have it. I just have to get there. It's just like Krishna Bhakti is also dormant. Just because it's not fully bloomed, I'm not pure devotee. But as soon yes, and as soon as we become, we reach that purity, that love and awakening, we become pure, everything will be natural. So it's there. And when we become agitated, it's there. It's hard, yes, but actually it's there. We just have to turn to that good side of it. So personally, I find that I just remember that.
During the night portion of the month of Kartika is much more purifying than above. The ocean is a place of pilgrimage or in lake. This sacred Ekadasi is more powerful and purifying than 1,000 Ashwamedha sacrifices. Sacrifices. Neither the Buddha inquired, "Oh Father, please describe clearly merits of advising completely on Tadasi, eating super without grains, or with one seed without grains or wheat." Lord Allah replied, "If a person eats once a meal, the sins of his previous births are erased. If he eats supper, the sins acquired during his previous two births are removed. And if he fasts completely, the sins accumulated during his previous 7 births are eradicated. Also, whatever is only read by a child until within the 20 books is obtained by him who is 3 years service of devotee Ekadasi. A person whose sin, equal not similar, important, sees them all reduced to nothing if he simply fasts on Prabhahari Ekadasi, another name for Haribhajana Ekadasi. The sins a person has accumulated over 1,800 years are burned to ash if he not only fasts but also remains awake throughout the night.
So that's the, you don't have that, do you?
Joshua is a month of cotton in burned ashes if one lights a small fire with it. On another, a person who strictly observes this fast achieves the results they have mentioned. Even if one does a small amount of pious activity, on this day, following the rules and regulations, one will burn to months in burning. However, a person who does not follow the rules and regulations given the scriptures may perform pious activity effortlessly months in row, but he will not burn even a small amount of meat.
Second thing is I have
One who does not chant the vital mantra 3 times a day, who disregards fast days, who does not believe in God, who criticizes the Vedic scriptures, who thinks the Vedas brings only ruination to one who follows their injunctions, who enjoys another's wife, who is utterly foolish and wicked, who does not appreciate any service that has been rendered to him, or who cheats others. Such a simple person can never perform any religious activity effectively. Be he a Brahmana or Shudra, whoever tries to enjoy another man's wife, particularly the wife of a thrice-born person, is said to be no better than a dog-eater or bishop of the sages. Any Brahman who enjoys sex with a widow or a Brahmana late married to another brings ruins to himself as well. Any Brahman who enjoys witness will have no children in his next life, and any past marriage he may ever
Maybe the best would
earn
be
his ruin.
later.
Indeed, if someone displays any arrogance toward a twice-born Brahman or a spiritual wife, he loses all his spiritual advancement immediately, as well as his wealth and children. These three kinds of men bring their quiet merit.
The fixed place
He whose character is immoral, he who has sex with the wife of a dog-eater,
But
and
if
he
you ask
who
mine,
appreciates
then
association of looks. Whoever associates with sinful people and visits their homes without a spiritual purpose will directly to the abode of Lord Yamaraja, the superintendent of them. And if someone eats in such a home, his acquired will destroyed along with his fame, racial pride, children, and happiness. Any simple rascal who insults a saintly person soon loses his religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification, and he at last burns in the fire of hell. Anyone who likes to offend saintly persons or who does not interrupt someone who is insulting saintly persons is considered no better than a devil. Such a wicked man sees his dynasty destroyed before his own eyes. A person whose character is unclean, who is proud, who is swindler, or who always fights with others, does not achieve a high destination there. He who begins charity, generosity, or performs other pious deeds. Therefore, one should refrain from performing inauspicious acts and perform only pious tasks, by which one will acquire merit and avoid suffering. However, the sins of one who, after due consideration, decides to fast of Haribojini Kadasi and raise it for 100 previous lives. And whoever fasts and remains awake overnight on this Ekadasi achieves unlimited merit, and after that goes to the supreme abode of Lord Krishna, and then without his ancestors, relatives, and descendants of Swati reach that abode. Even if one's forefathers were implicated in many sins and are suffering in hell, they still attain beautifully ornamented spiritual bodies and happily goes to his abode. Or Narada, even one who has committed the heinous sin of killing a Brahmana is freed of all stains of his charity by fasting on Haribojini Kadasi and remaining awake that night. The merit that cannot thereby be won by bathing all the place of pilgrimage, performing a horse sacrifice or giving cows, gold, overtime, and lambs, and charity can easily be achieved by fasting on this holiday and remaining awake throughout the night. Anyone who serves Haribojini Kadasi is celebrated as highly qualified and makes his business friends. As death is certain, so lose one's wealth is also certain. Knowing this, all bishop sages, one should observe a fast on this day so dear to Hari, Shri Haribojini Ekadasi. All places of pilgrimage in the three worlds of earth come to reside in the house of a person who fasts on this Ekadasi. Therefore, to please the Lord who holds a disc in his hand, one should give up all engagements, surrender, and observe this Ekadasi fast. One who fasts on this Haribojini day is acknowledged as a wise man, a true yogi, and ascetic, and one whose senses are truly under control. He alone enjoys his work properly, and he will certainly achieve liberation. This Ekadasi is very dear to Lord Vishnu, and thus it is the very sense of religiosity. If your observance of it bestows the topmost reward in all the three worlds. O Naradaji, whoever fasts on this Ekadasi will definitely not enter one again, and thus faithful devotees of the Supreme Godhead give up all varieties of religion and simply surrender to fast on this Ekadasi. For that great soul who honors this Ekadasi by fasting and remain awake throughout the night, the Supreme Lord Shri Govinda personally terminates the sinful reaction that soul has acquired by the actions of his mind, body, and words. Awesome! For anyone who bathes in the place of pilgrimage, gives charity, chants the holy names of the Supreme Lord, undergoes austerities, and performs sacrifice for God on Haribojini Ekadasi, the merit thus earned all becomes perishable. A devotee worships Lord Madhava on this day with the first class paraphernalia becomes free from the grave sins of 100 lifetimes. A person who observes his fast and worships Lord Vishnu properly is freed from grave danger. His Ekadasi fast pleases Lord Janardhan so much that he takes the person who observes it back to his abode, and while going there, the devotee illuminates them 10 universal directions. Whoever desires peace and happiness should try to honor Haribojini Ekadasi, especially if it falls on Dwadasi. The sins of one's past 100 births, the sins committed during childhood, youth, and old age, and all those lifetimes, whether those sins are dry or wet, are nullified by the Supreme Lord Govinda if one fasts on Haribojini Ekadasi with devotion. Haribojini Ekadasi is the best Ekadasi. Nothing is innovative or rare in this world for one who fasts on these days. For it gives food grains, great wealth, and high merit, as well as the eradication of all sin, the terrible obstacle to liberation. Fast on this Ekadasi is 1,000 times better than give charity on the day of solar or lunar eclipse. Again, I say to you, O Naradaji, whatever merit is earned in the world without, in a place of pilgrimage, perform sacrifices and study the Vedas, is only 1/10,000,000 the merit earned by the person who fasts by one of Haribojini Ekadasi. Whatever merit one has acquired from his non-religious activities becomes completely fruitless if one does not observe the Ekadasi, fast, and worship Lord Vishnu in the month of Kartik. Therefore, you should always worship the Supreme Lord Janardana and render service to him. Thus, you attain the desired goal, the highest perfection. On Haribojini Ekadasi, the devotee of the Lord should not eat in another's house or eat food cooked by another devotee. If he does so, he achieves only the merit of fasting a full moon day. Philosophical discussion of scriptures in the month of Kartik pleases Sri Vishnu more than if one gives elephants and horses in charity or performs a costly sacrifice. Whoever chants or hears descriptions of the Lord Vishnu's qualities and pastimes, even if a half or even a fourth of a verse, attain the wonderful merit derived from giving away 100 cows to Brahma. On Narada, during the month of Kartik, one should give up all kinds of ordinary duties and devote one's full time and energy, especially while in fasting, to discussing the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Such glorification of Shri Hari on a day so dear to Lord Ekadasi liberates 100 previous limitations. One who spends his time enjoying such discussions, especially in the month of Kartik, achieves the results of performing 10,000 fire sacrifices and burns all his sins to ashes. He who hears the wonderful narrations concerning Lord Vishnu, particularly during the month of Kartik, automatically earns the same merit as that bestowed upon someone who donates 100 cows in charity. O great sage, a person who chants the glories of Lord Hari on Ekadasi achieves the merit earned by donating 7 isms. Narada Muni asked his glorious father, O universal Sir, O best of all demigods, please tell me how to observe this most sacred Ekadasi. What kind of merit does it bestow upon the faithful? Lord Brahma replied, O son, a person who wants to observe this Ekadasi should rise early on Ekadasi morning during the Brahma Muhurta hour, an hour and a half before sunrise until 15 minutes before sunrise. He should then clean his teeth and bath in a lake, river, pond, or well, or in his own home, as the situation warrants. After worshipping Lord Shri Keshava, he should listen carefully to the sacred description of the Lord. He should pray to the Lord thus, O Lord Keshava, I shall fast on this day which is so dear to you. And tomorrow I shall honor your sacred prasada. O Lord Sight, Lord, O Infallible One, you are my only shelter. Kindly protect me. Having spoken this solemn prayer before the Lord with great love and devotion, one should fast cheerfully. O Narada, whoever remains awake all night on this Ekadasi, singing beautiful songs glorifying the Lord, dancing in ecstasy, playing delightful instrumental music for his transcendental pleasure, and reciting the pastimes of Lord Krishna as records and bona fide facts in literature, such a person is most assuredly reside far beyond the three worlds in the eternal spiritual realm of God. On this important day, on Haribhajani Ekadasi, one should worship Sri Krishna with the fruits and aromatic flowers, especially the one should not observe oneself making unnecessary for. In other words, greed should be exchanged for charity. This is the process of turning loss into unlimited merit. One should offer many kinds of fruits to the Lord and bath him with water from comfort. Each of these devotional practices we perform in Haribhajani Ekadasi is 10 million times more beneficial than bathing all the places of healing and giving all forms of charity. Even Lord Indra joins his home offers his obeisance to the Lord who ships Lord Janata with first-class and fantastic flowers of this day. The Supreme Lord Hari is very pleased when he is decorated with the nice artistic flowers. O Narada, give liberation to one who devotedly worships Lord Krishna on this Ekadasi in the month of Kartik, who believes on the birth of the blood Hari. And the foreign who worships Lord Janardana with fresh tulasi leaves and fragrant sunflowers during this month or sun, I personally want to wash all the sins he has committed for the 10,000 books. One who merely sees Tulasi Maharani, touches hair, meditates on hair, narrates how she offers obeisance to hair, prays for hair for her grace, flings hair, ships hair, or water her leaves. In the womb, or waters hair, lives in the boat of Lord Hari eternally. O Narada, one who serves Tulasi Devi in these 9 ways achieves happiness in the higher world for as many thousands of yugas as there are roots and sub-roots grown from mature Tulasi plants. When a full-grown Tulasi plant produces seeds, many plants grow from those seeds and spread their branches, twigs, and flowers. And these flowers also produce numerous seeds. For as many thousands of kalpas as there are seeds produced in this way, the forefathers of one who serves Tulasi in these 9 ways will live in the abode of Lord Hari. Those who worship Lord Krishna with kadamba flowers, which are very pleasing to him, get its nest and do not see the abode of Jamaraj, that personified. What the use of worship someone else if all desires can be fulfilled by pleasing Lord Hari? For example, a devotee who offers him Apula, Ashoka, and Patali flowers is freed from misery and distress for as long as the sun and moon exist in this universe. And at last he achieves liberation. O best of the Brahmanas, an offering of Kanera flowers to Lord Jagannatha brings as much mercy upon the devotee as that earned by worship Lord Krishna for 4 yugas. One who offers tulasi flowers, manjaris, to Sri Krishna during the month of Kartika receives more merit than can pay for them by donate 10 million cows. Even the devotional offering of newly grown sprouts of grass brings with it 100 times the benefit obtained by ordinary ritualistic worship of Supreme Lord. One who worships Lord Vishnu with the leaves of the Samika tree is freed from the curse of Yamaraj, the Lord of Death. One who worships Vishnu during the rainy season with champaka or jasmine flowers never returns to the planet Earth again. One who worships the Lord with but a single cool flower achieves the womb of donate a pile of gold, 200 grams. If a devotee offers a single yellow flower of the Kitaki or wood apple tree to the Lord Vishnu, who rides on Garuda, he is freed from the sins of the 10 million bush. Furthermore, one who offers Lord Jagannath flowers and also 100 leaves along with red and yellow sandalwood paste will certainly come to reside in Svetadvipa, far beyond the conquest of this material creation. All greatest of Brahmanas, Shri Narada, after thus worshipping Lord Keshava, they bestow all material and spiritual happiness on Haribhajana Ekadasi. One should rise early the next day. Bath in the winds, chant the japa of Krishna's holy names, and render loving devotional service to the Lord at home to the best of your abilities. To break the fast, the devout should first offer some prasada to Brahmanas, and only then, with their permission, eat some rice. Thereafter, to please the Supreme Lord, the devotee should worship his spiritual master, the purest of Lord's devotees, and offer him sumptuous food, nice cloth, gold, and cows, according to the devotee's needs. This will certainly please the Supreme Lord, the holder of the disc. Next, the devotee should donate cow to Brahmana, and if the devotee has neglected some rules in the regulation of spiritual life, he should confess them before Brahmana, devotees of the Lord. Then the devotee should offer them some dakshina. O king, those who have eaten supper on Ekadasi should feed the Brahman the next day. That is very pleasing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. O son, if a man has fasted without asking the permission of his priest, or if a woman has fasted without asking her husband's permission, he or she should donate bull to a Brahman. Honey and yogur are also proper gifts for a Brahman. Someone who has fasted from ghee should donate milk. Who has fasted from grain should donate rice. One who has slept on the floor should donate bed seed with a pillow. One who has eaten on a leaf plate should donate a pot of leaf. One who has remained silent should donate them. And one who has fasted from season should give gold in charity and feed a Brahmana couple with sumptuous food. A man who wants to prevent baldness should donate a mirror to a Brahmana. One who has second-hand shoes should donate shoes. And one who has fasted from salt should donate some sugar to a Brahmana. During this month, everyone should regularly offer tilam to the Lord Vishnu or to Srimati Tulasi Devi in a temple. An Ekadasi fast is complete when one offers a qualified Brahmana gold or copper pot filled with ghee and 3 weeks, along with 8 water pots containing some gold and covered by cloth. One who cannot afford this gift should at least offer Brahmana some sweets food. One who does so will surely attain the full benefit of fasting on Ekadasi. After offering his obeisances and begging permission, the devotee should eat his meal. On this Ekadasi, Chaturmasya means. So, whatever one gave up during Chaturmasya should now be donated to Brahmanas. One who follows this process of Chaturmasya receives unlimited credit. O King of Kings, and goes to the abode of Lord Vasudeva the Dead. O King, anyone who observes the complete Chaturmasya without a break attains eternal happiness and does not receive another birth. But if someone breaks the fast, he becomes either a blind